What's happening, guys? Welcome to my audio review for this week's Monday Night Raw episode, the Fallout episode to Battleground 2015. Explosive episode as we had hoped. Um, Continued from how things ended on Battleground, emphasis being the beef between Lesnar and The Undertaker. We've got our main event for SummerSlam already set up, the rematch from WrestleMania, Lesnar versus The Undertaker, and that pretty much was the point of this Raw episode. For a lot of people, it was the best Raw they've seen in years because of that brawl between The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, which forced Triple H not only send in security but practically the entire locker room. But even with all that force between Lesnar and The Undertaker, it wasn't enough. They failed to hold them together completely, to break away from everyone and just continue fighting. I felt that brawl just went on a little bit too long. You know, they could have just started in the ring. They have it done there. Then everyone just moves backstage. They manage to restrain both of them, and everyone just moves backstage, and we continue with the show. But well, they needed an end to that brawl, and what we got was Lesnar pretty much just getting handcuffed and sent away. Undertaker as well gone, and that was the end of it. But I just felt it went a little bit too long. But otherwise, we just look at what else happened in the evening. We had some Divas action. Brie Bella taking on Charlotte once again. I still feel like Charlotte is the one who's going to get pushed, and she's going to, overshadow Paige, despite Paige being the one who needed backup against Team Bella. But from the way things are going, it just looked like Charlotte is the star of that trio, and Paige and Becky Lynch, they've turned into her sidekicks, her lackeys, from the way things are going. And of course, Paige and Becky Lynch, they would tag team later in the evening against Sasha Banks and Naomi, but we'll get to that. But for this singles match, Charlotte, of course, performing really well in the ring. Nothing to be worried about when these NXT women are in the ring. They're there to show these divas, honestly, how to put on a great match, because I think the worry is these ladies, now that they're on the main roster, again, they'll probably have their matches are shorter, and they won't get a chance to tell stories in the ring, or have as much time as they would on NXT. But they did get some time for these two matches. We had the other teams on commentary, which I'd say it distracts what goes on in the ring. That's how I feel. Sometimes when you have someone on commentary, they just go on, and you're trying to focus on the action in the ring. And with those special guests at commentary, the commentators as well, they get caught up and they stop calling action in the ring, and it takes away the action. You stop focusing on what's going on in the ring, despite there's so many great moves being performed, so many great spots and everything, but commentary is nowhere near what's going on in the ring. So sometimes when you have guests at commentary, it distracts what goes on in the ring. Sometimes you can have people at commentary who actually doing just fine. They continue keeping focus on the action in the ring, like the primetime players when they were on commentary on Raw. I think it was last week or the week before. Titus O'Neil telling JBL to focus on what's going on in the ring rather than talking about the Cadillac and stuff that's not related to what's going on in the match. he pointed that out, and I think a lot of people, they gave Titus props for that, because that's what the announcement team should be doing. Focus on the match, keep it on the match, rather than, you're talking about the match and then you're going to touch on something else, you're going to touch on what's trending on Twitter, or the latest sponsor, or trying to plug the WWE network again and again. And yet your Raw episode, your flagship show, it's not really grabbing a lot of people's attention. Your ratings are still going down, and yet here you are, not focusing on the match, not giving people what they're supposed to be paying for. Disappointing. So again, back to the Charlotte versus Brie match. No problems from Charlotte. Brie, I think, being with someone from NXT like Charlotte, perhaps you could say it is up to her game. Although she looked out of place at Battleground in that triple threat match, Charlotte, Brie, and Sasha Banks. But in this singles match, yeah, she did look better than she was in that triple threat match. But Charlotte, of course, getting the victory over her. We also had some backstage segment with the Authority. Triple H talking to Paul Heyman before that brawl, talking to Paul Heyman, telling him not to bring Lesnar to the arena because they didn't want things to break down between Lesnar and the Undertaker, which obviously it happened. Undertaker, he kicked off the show with his promo. Honestly, I don't think I've heard Undertaker cut. Yeah, I haven't heard him cut a promo in a while. But this time you could tell that he's definitely aged. It's been a while. He doesn't sound as not inspiring, but that presence of the Undertaker when he is in the ring to cut a promo, you could tell his age was in there, so it wasn't as much of an impact as you'd have wanted, but it was enough to get him over. The crowd was on his side, because I think a lot of people they just went to assume that based on his attack on Lesnar at Battleground, he's a heel. Since Brock Lesnar is arguably the biggest babyface on the roster right now against Seth Rollins, the heel. So with Undertaker attacking Lesnar, it would make Taker a heel, considering that he gave Lesnar a low blow. That's a heel move, so automatically you'd think, okay, Taker is a heel. But based on his promo on Raw, he's still a face. People still like him. They weren't booing him or anything. He gave his reasons for coming back, reasons for attacking Lesnar, and that is what set up their match at SummerSlam. And of course, with the Authority high on their main event, that's pretty much all they wanted to talk about, the main event. And when they were rallying the locker room to make sure that Lesnar and Undertaker chaos doesn't ensue between them, they tried to make it look like, that main event is important, not just to the company, not just to the fans, but to the locker room as well. And I'm there thinking, no, not really, because most of these guys, you're not really doing anything with them. So they have no link whatsoever to the main event. I didn't really buy into the idea that, hey, this main event is for you guys. So if you guys can make sure that Lesnar and The Undertaker, they don't hurt each other or anything, and they are in good shape for that main event, it benefits me, it benefits you. This was the Authority speaking, but I didn't really buy into it, because again, these guys, they have nothing to do with that main event. And anyway, when they were supposedly doing their job, trying to separate Undertaker and Lesnar, they didn't really do much, because they would keep them separated just for maybe a couple of seconds or so, maybe a minute. Next thing, they would break away and then just continue fighting, even with the help of security. Didn't really help. So honestly, these guys, they were just there, and it was just pointed out really well on the post game podcast, the PW Torch Raw post game. I think someone called in, or was it an email sent, talking about how there were some superstars who were not part of that um, group of locker room guys who were there separating Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. And those guys who are not part of it were the superstars that WWE are mostly concerned about. Everyone who was there in that brawl is just someone who's there to fill time, someone that WWE doesn't really have anything meaningful to do. Although there were some top guys in that whole brawl, like Sheamus. I think someone pointed out Kevin Owens was there as well, and that was quite curious that Kevin Owens is in this brawl. What does he have to do with it? It doesn't fit his character, but he was there. But I think everyone else, yeah, that point was correct, that everyone else, WWE doesn't really have anything to do with them. I mean, the one image that comes to mind is backstage, Lesnar was being led away. The superstars who were trying to calm him down. I think there was Bo Dallas and there was R-Truth on the other side trying to calm him down. I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys trying to cheer up, trying to calm down Lesnar, but R-Truth especially, you just had your match against King Barrett at Battleground, but what's the way forward for you? What's the next step? So I think, yeah, that was pretty much the whole point of Monday Night Raw, that big brawl, which of course ended with Lesnar getting sent away. Undertaker also, he left. We also had The Miz coming into Triple H's office, complaining about the Big Show's attack at Battleground. Triple H not in the mood. He put The Miz in a match against the Big Show. That match happened. It was basically a squash match. Miz didn't really stand a chance. Lesnar didn't waste any time, taking him out with a massive elbow drop from the second rope. Miz taken down. Then, of course, he cut a promo right after the match. He's also not happy about Ryback not being around. Again, he promises that he will take the Intercontinental Championship off of Ryback. So, the way things are going, they're still pushing for Ryback versus the Big Show, the main match before Miz got involved. So chances are we're not going to get that triple threat match for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. Probably Big Show will take care of Miz over the course of these upcoming 5 weeks, leaving him and Ryback left standing to continue the feud and build up towards the match at SummerSlam. That's the way I see it. We also had Luke Harper versus Roman Reigns, based on how things ended at Battleground. Luke Harper costing Roman Reigns that match against Bray Wyatt when he attacked him from out of nowhere. The ref didn't see it. Wyatt would get his clean, not really clean because he got the pin, but with the help of Luke Harper. That match happened on Raw. Wyatt was at ringside. He took Luke Harper, he took Byron Saxton's chair. So Byron Saxton was left standing throughout that match. Wyatt had taken his chair, and that was really not impressive at all, because why couldn't they have a chair ready for Wyatt rather than having an announcer like Byron Saxton standing the whole match? That's not really professional. In fact, it just felt like that's not something you can forget, ladies and gentlemen. This is Monday Night Raw. It's happening live, and you've got one of your announcers, despite you would say he's a junior compared to Michael Cole and JBL, but still, he's there to call matches, and you have him standing throughout one of your matches when you could have had a chair ready for Wyatt. I mean, there are always some chairs by the timekeeper's side of the ring near the announce table. Why couldn't he get one of those chairs and have Byron keep his chair? What's up with that? But of course, you know how WWE operates. Things like this happen. So I felt sorry for Byron. He shouldn't. Honestly, it just feels like he can't catch a break because he's the third guy in the Raw announce team. They always get him for that. On NXT, he's the third guy again. Although he does a better job on NXT than on Raw because JBL and Michael Cole, they are the ones who basically lead the show, and they just have Byron offer his thoughts here and there, but it's mainly just JBL and Michael Cole. So you might as well just have them doing Raw, and then Byron leave him for NXT. Well, he's no longer on SmackDown. I think it's Jimmy Uso or Jay. It should be Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso, he's doing SmackDown with Tom Phillips and Jerry the King Lawler. So he's on NXT mainly, and I think he's on the Raw panel. I should think so. Yeah. So again, Byron Saxton left standing during that Luke Harper versus Roman Reigns match. Wyatt was at ringside looking to be there to cause trouble for Roman. Then Dean Ambrose would show up. We didn't see him at Battleground, oddly enough, but he was there tonight to make sure Wyatt doesn't pull off anything. The match between Luke Harper and Roman Reigns, of course, no complaints about that. These guys could actually put on a feud perhaps in future. Good chemistry between them. Didn't feel awkward at all. That's the thing with Luke Harper. You'd think that based on how he looks, and you'd assume that he's not really someone who can put on a match even with someone as top as Roman Reigns. You think Roman Reigns would outshine him, but Luke Harper actually put on a match against Roman Reigns. So there's a future for Luke Harper. I hope they don't. He's the former Intercontinental Champion. I hope they do something more with him later on, rather than just having him circle around mid-card, not doing anything. Bring him back with Wyatt, perhaps. That's a step in the right direction. Again, I'm wondering, where's Eric Rowan? This is a reunion of the Wyatt family, but where's Eric Rowan? He should be there, or because now you've got Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns is just going to be tag team action 2 versus 2. I still think they should have Rowan in there, unless someone in the back feels that Rowan would ruin it, which would be unfortunate because he was part of the original Wyatt family. So why would you exclude him now? Big question there. Oh, again with Show, you'd plug his appearance on Tough Enough. He will be the guy who will be on Tough Enough, so I'm looking forward to seeing that episode tonight. Not sure who was, although there was I think it was a Battleground, the trailer for this week's Tough Enough episode. Someone got injured during one of the challenges, one of the ladies. I was just trying to figure out who was it. Could it have been Georgia or Sarah Lee, or is it Chelsea? Chelsea. There's Amanda as well. So I'm not sure who got injured, but I hope. Chances are I don't think they'll be able to continue the competition from the looks of it, but we'll find out when I check it out tonight. We also had Heyman. There was Heyman's big promo. What brought Undertaker to the ring and also brought Lesnar and sparked their brawl. Lesnar cutting is probably one of his best promos, you'd say ever, or maybe in recent memory, but there was a lot of heart in that, as expected from Paul Heyman. You can't expect anything less. He brought The Undertaker out just based on that promo, and you think, it took Wyatt some time to bring back The Undertaker, but with Heyman, of course, he brought The Undertaker out just based on this short promo. I'd say, was it 5-10 minutes? Yeah. In that space, he brought The Undertaker out. Lesnar would come out as well, and then that brawl would kick off. But, as much as you'd like Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker feuding, well, not feuding, but brawling like they did on Raw. How many times are we going to see them on Raw? I don't think SmackDown. No, I don't think SmackDown they'll be there. But for Raw, how many Raws are we going to see them before SummerSlam? Probably, maybe on the last Raw before SummerSlam. So in between, I'm pretty sure we'll have, I think, Paul Heyman interacting with with the authority about that main event at SummerSlam. Perhaps during these weeks they'll decide on what kind of match they want between Lesnar and The Undertaker. I'm not sure because would it be a steel cage or not Hell in a Cell? Because probably say that for pay-per-view, but casket maybe. I don't think so. But the way I see it, again, I don't think we'll see Taker and Brock Lesnar again until maybe the last Raw before SummerSlam. I think that's the last time. That's the next time we'll see these two in the same ring again. So I guess because it would be, although yeah, I would love for them to bring them back week after week just to continue building towards this feud, but again, they probably don't want to expose The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar too much, so keeping them as attractions, so we won't see them again. But perhaps Heyman, definitely, I'm sure we'll see him week after week promoting this match. I hope that'll be the case. We had Seth Rollins. He popped up after the brawl. I was wondering, okay, where's Seth Rollins? I thought he would be the guy to pop up first at the start of Raw, but it was The Undertaker who popped out. Rollins, sorry. He would come later. He wanted to be not part of the brawl, but he wanted to talk to Lesnar and Taker, and you wonder, okay, if he had been around when that brawl broke out, what would have happened? Honestly, would he have been one of the guys taken out while leaving him out of the way, and then Lesnar and Taker, they continued to fight on their own? But Rollins wanted to say something, so he got his chance to address the crowd, reminding them again he's still WWE champion, despite the number of suplexes that he got at Battleground. But to him, the fact is, he's still standing. He's still the champion, so it doesn't matter what happened at Battleground or anything, despite what people may have thought or assumed about Battleground. He's still the champion, and surprise, Cena would come out during this promo from Rollins, and we had, I'd say, one of the best promo exchanges we've seen in a while between these two guys, because you can't expect anything less. Both Rollins and Cena, they can cut promos. You don't have to worry about them cutting anything bad. These guys, they can pull off epic promos, and their exchange, it felt genuine because they were touching on something that's relatable. Cena being the symbol of a true champion against what Rollins believes is he's a symbol of a true champion. He's WWE champion, so he believes he's the top guy, he's the top champion. So what does Cena have except the United States Championship? But Cena reminding him that it's not the title that makes the man, it's the man that makes the title. So someone had called it on that PW Torch post. Was it the post? Not the post Raw podcast, but the Battleground post-show podcast. I think someone then called out that there would be a champion versus champion match between Cena versus Rollins, and based on this promo exchange, we could be getting that for SummerSlam. Personally, I don't have a problem with that match, because at the end of the day, they at least have something to do for SummerSlam. That's That's my thought, and they have something to do for SummerSlam. Some people might feel I'm not ready to see this match. Yeah, but who do you have to take on Rollins? You can't have Dean Ambrose. You can't have Roman Reigns again. Roman Reigns probably you'll have it maybe later, but having it now would just seem too soon because, well, anyway, he's busy with Wyatt. Dean Ambrose also helping Roman Reigns against Wyatt, so you can't count those two against Rollins. So you have John Cena, because John Cena as well. Of course, there was that. I think, did I mention it in the Battleground review? I don't think so. That someone had suggested that, okay, maybe Cesaro can be the man who defeats John Cena at SummerSlam for the title, and then Cesaro moves on to feud with Kevin Owens, who defeats Cesaro for the title. That was just something someone had brought up, but yeah, it was on the Battleground post-show podcast. Yeah, but the Battleground team, they weren't really up for it because they were like, okay, it will be Cesaro as a babyface taking on John Cena as a babyface. That can't really work, but it can work because we had Dolph Ziggler as a babyface taking on, was it Daniel Bryan? Yeah, Daniel Bryan as a babyface months back at the beginning of the year. So, and anyway, the crowd loves Cesaro right now. So what's wrong with babyface versus babyface? It still works, and you'd have if Cesaro defeats Cena, you'd still have Cena acknowledging Cesaro like what he did on that Raw when they went one-on-one, and Cena cut a promo supporting Cesaro after Raw, and there was a standing ovation for that. So you could have an extension of that, but this time we all get to see it. Cena, he shows some respect for Cesaro. He endorses him being champion. He beat him fair and square. So it should still work. And besides, you'd now be able to build Cesaro as a babyface against heel Kevin Owens. You see, so it would still work. There's nothing wrong with babyface versus babyface. I think, yeah, there are some times when you want to define what character a superstar is. Are they a babyface or are they a heel? Rather than having them switch week after week, like what happened with Big Show taking on The Miz. He's a babyface because he took on The Miz, but he turned back into heel because he's still going after Ryback. So again, with Show, you never really know. He's always switching. But yeah, with Cesaro, I would say he's a face because the crowd loves him and he plays to the crowd. He's not against them. So he's a babyface right now. Although the point about him not having anything to fight for, I'm not really sure what's his motivation. For a couple of weeks it was the US title, but that's not the case now. So what's the way forward for Cesaro? We'll touch on Cesaro for the main event because the main event was a 6-on-6 tag team match. Cena, Cesaro, and Randy Orton against Kevin Owens, Rusev, and Sheamus. But for this promo between Rollins and Cena could be setting up for a champion versus champion match at SummerSlam. No problem with that match. At least they have something to do for SummerSlam. And then after SummerSlam, again, you can start preparing for their next big opponents. So there's no problem with that match. I don't know why people would have a problem with it. What do you guys think about that? Rollins versus John Cena. Good match just for them to have something to do, or do you have superstars that Rollins can take on, Cena can take on at SummerSlam? I'd like to hear what you guys think, but again, I have no problem with that. I'm hoping an idea that came up was Cena doing the US challenge. Why not have Seth Rollins do a WWE challenge? No? Even though obviously he's going to come out on top by taking on maybe mid-card superstars just to make Rollins look strong, because if he's just going to continue being a weasel against John Cena, it just makes John Cena look like the bigger man, the bigger champion, and Rollins, He does not want to look bad because he's the WWE champion, and Cena, being the bigger man, he is holding a secondary title, which he has elevated since winning it at WrestleMania. So Rollins, he shouldn't have that happening. He should start building himself up. Perhaps, he starts his own open challenge for the WWE title. I think that's something they can have in the main event because, again, we probably won't see Lesnar or The Undertaker until the last Raw before SummerSlam. So that's something Rollins can be doing week after week. He has his own challenge. Perhaps maybe you could have John Cena sitting at commentary to watch this. Maybe they can take turns, like this Raw, you have Cena in the main event with his open challenge, and then the next, and like maybe a couple of, maybe some matches earlier, you have Rollins having his open challenge for the US title. You have Cena sitting at commentary watching Rollins' his open challenge, and then in the main event, if it's Cena's turn, you have Rollins sitting in at commentary to watch John Cena's open challenge. So you have these guys watching each other's matches, trying to get one over each other, trying to prove that I deserve to be champion. I'm putting on great matches week after week leading up to their match at SummerSlam. That way you have both of them, their momentum is built, and you have that hype for their confrontation at Battleground. Neither of them looks like weaker. They look weaker than the other. Both of them are strong, and you have to wonder, okay, who's the guy who's going to come out on top in this one? That's just my idea for Rollins versus Cena, just to keep them busy over these weeks leading up to SummerSlam. But what happens to Sheamus, Mr. Money in the Bank? Depending on who wins between this Rollins-John Cena match, what happens with Sheamus? Is he going to cash in? Like if John Cena would, like if the WWE title is on the line and John Cena defeats Seth Rollins, does Sheamus cash in? Or even if Rollins retains, does Sheamus cash in? What role will Sheamus have for Battleground? This is what brings me to to the main event. That 6-man tag team match looked to be something epic. It was going to be a great match until there was some trouble between Sheamus and Kevin Owens. They were not getting along, as you'd expect. This is a team full of heels. They don't get along. I think Owens was Irish whipped to Sheamus to their corner. He hit Sheamus when he was sent to the corner, and then Sheamus got hot all about that, asking Owens, "What did you do? What were you doing?" And that led to some heated confrontation between them. Sheamus, he would walk out, leaving Owens and Rusev. It reached a point where Owens looking to tag in Rusev, but Rusev was down, so Owens had to continue on his own. When Rusev finally got to his feet, Owens, he started an argument with Rusev because he felt Rusev wasn't doing his part. So in the end, Owens, he walks out, leaving Rusev to take on Cena, Cesaro, and Randy Orton. So it was 3-on-1. No chance for Rusev. He gets the AA. He gets the Cesaro swing. Then he gets a slingshot into an RKO for that epic finish. So Rusev taken out. But now you can start to throw in some ideas because you have Sheamus being pissed off at Owens, and then you have Owens being pissed off at Rusev. Could that be a match for SummerSlam, perhaps? I think that's an idea because you'd at least have them do something for SummerSlam, especially Kevin Owens, because right now he's just come off his feud with John Cena. He didn't win the US title, so what's the way forward for Kevin Owens? So that's something they could do, perhaps Sheamus versus Owens, versus Rusev, a triple threat for SummerSlam. So maybe these coming weeks you can have them taking each other on in singles matches. Maybe you can continue some tag team action. Cesaro and Randy Orton maybe taking on Rusev and Sheamus with Kevin Owens there. You can maybe just have Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. Just have some matches between these guys to keep them occupied, and then hopefully towards SummerSlam you build up to something. Hopefully, but at the end of it, that was Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. The main point being a massive plug for that main event at SummerSlam, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. And it made me worry about the NXT takeover event, because you've got so much attention being put for SummerSlam, but what happens for the NXT? I don't think they'll plug it as much on the main roster, so NXT is probably where they'll have to hype for that event, and if they can build a solid card for it, perhaps they'll have some major attention for it. And if it actually turns out to be an epic event, that has to put Mr. McMahon on notice. He has to start paying attention to NXT now, because based on this, how they treat NXT, again, I'm not really liking this Divas Revolution, because again, Sasha Banks without the championship, and yet when they advertised for a tag team match for SmackDown, I think it's Naomi and Sasha Banks again taking on, I think the Bella Twins. Yeah, Sasha Banks has her championship there, so why can't she come with it to the ring? What's up with that? And yet Cyril pointed out that Paige came to the main roster with the NXT Women's Championship. So all of a sudden, why is Sasha Banks not with the title? What's up with that? I'm not liking it at all. And like I pointed out earlier, that Paige and Becky Lynch, they're just looking like Charlotte's lackeys at the end of it. And it's just going to revolve around these 9 divas. That's where the revolution is going. All the other divas, there's nothing going on with it. There's no revolution. They're not really benefiting from this revolution at all. They're not involved. So what kind of revolution are you talking about if it's just going to involve just a handful of women out of the entire women's division? And something you can worry about is these NXT women, they're just going to be turned into divas. Their spark, what made them so cool about coming from NXT, it's slowly going to fade away. And people are just going to treat these ladies like the main roster divas. They're just going to turn them into divas, and people are just going to lose faith in not just the divas division, but the NXT division as well, because they're just going to see anyone who comes from NXT is just going to be pushed to the main roster and turned into a diva. They're no longer treated like NXT women. They're not treated like women anymore. We're female wrestlers, I should say. They're just turned into divas. And I hope that won't be the case, because right now we don't need divas. The age of divas has ended. We've got female wrestlers now. We've got these women who are actually giving the women's division some credibility. And hopefully they should stop calling each other divas. They don't need to be divas. They're female wrestlers. It's the women's division. They should emphasize that. But, well, they all just aspire to be divas. And I think that's unfortunate, because they're just going to be branded like the main roster women. Now, that shouldn't be the case. There should be some difference between the main roster divas and the NXT women. We should be able to see that, there's some difference, not just in the ring, but overall. Don't just lump them into the divas division, and then next thing you know, you'll have Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks they're popping up on future seasons of Total Divas. I mean, that would suck. You know, we would stop paying attention to them for what they do in the ring. We're just focused on what they do on Total Divas. Like what has happened with Eva Marie. She's no longer considered someone who can compete in the ring, although she has been training with someone credible like the Brian Kendrick, building up for. She's gonna have a match tomorrow on NXT. Today is Tuesday. No, today is Wednesday. Tonight, yeah, today is Wednesday. So she's gonna have a match tonight. I wonder who she's going to face. Probably Blue Pants or Carmella or any of these, I'd say, mid-card NXT women. Since, yeah, the top women they're now on the main roster. The only one left is Bayley. Once she's healed up, she'll probably move up to main roster. Maybe she'll be the one who will defeat Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship, and then she'll be the top lady for NXT until the next one is built up. I think that's the way it's going to go. That way you have the NXT Women's Championship remaining on NXT, where it's not being featured on the main roster for no apparent reason. But anyway, it will remain on NXT, and then you have these ladies. They can now fight for the Divas title. That's my thinking for the NXT Women's Championship. I think, yeah, Bayley, hopefully she'll be in good shape again by the time TakeOver comes, and she's the one who takes on Sasha Banks for the title. That's my thought. So again, my little rant about the Divas division. I mean, the funny thing is, I didn't really care about the Divas division until, I'd say, last year when AJ Lee was now in the picture, when Caitlyn was still around, and then when I started watching NXT and seeing what these women are doing on NXT, now I care, and unfortunately, I hope that WWE cares enough as well, because this revolution, it's starting to lose its spark. There was excitement, yes, last Raw, but now when people have wisened up and start to realize, okay, so this is the bigger picture, this is what we're actually getting, this revolution is not looking too good. Because again, at the end of it, the face of this revolution, it's not Paige, it's Stephanie McMahon, right? She's the face of the revolution, and these ladies, they're just playing parts of it. They're not leading anything. And again, it's just a revolution between these 9 women. It's not really including the entire main roster women's division or the NXT women's division. At least if we had NXT women coming up, then taking on the main roster women, then you can call it a revolution. Of course, without Stephanie McMahon being involved at all, you can call that a revolution, but there's not much of a revolution here. It's not even an invasion. It's just some ladies from NXT called up to team up with a former NXT Women's Champion. Again, they've stopped acknowledging that Paige was a former NXT Women's Champion. So that would make her a 3-time Women's Champion, because she's a 2-time Divas Champion and a 1-time NXT Women's Champion. So why don't they include that? I guess when you move up to main roster, whatever you were in NXT doesn't matter anymore. Is that the case? Honestly, I don't understand it. But yeah, that ends my review for Raw. Got a little passionate. I know that's what happens when you're a fan of wrestling. You get passionate, especially when things are not really going as you'd like them to go. You know, WWE, again, they just seem to take their fans for granted. This Raw, of course, again, it was the best Raw for a lot of people, but when you shake off, wipe away the fuzz and the fear and everything, you realize, okay, yeah, it was, but was it really? What are we getting at the end of it? What are we getting for these next couple of weeks? Probably not as much as we got tonight. But I could be wrong. Hope maybe we'll continue getting more and more leading up to SummerSlam, but sometimes more isn't a good idea. Sometimes less is better. That's my take. So that ends my review for Raw. I hope you guys, for those of you who got to watch Raw, what were your thoughts on it? What did you like? What did you not like? You can let me know in the comment section, or if you follow me on Twitter at Alan CDOS, one word, ALLENCEEDOS, Alan CDOS, one word. If you follow me on Twitter, you can hit me up there. Let me know what your thoughts were for Raw. What do you think is going to happen these coming weeks leading up to SummerSlam? What other matches do you think will happen at SummerSlam? John, I'd like to hear from you guys. Was there... Yeah. Also, I just wanted to let you guys know that I've decided to archive all the episodes on my YouTube channel. Yeah, although, because I realized that at least on YouTube, I can still get feedback for these old episodes. People can still get onto the series. They listen to, if they discover it on YouTube, then hopefully they can come to SoundCloud, because I realize that YouTube is probably going to last. It's going to still be around as compared to ZippyShare, although ZippyShare has been around for some years now. But just compare between YouTube and ZippyShare, which one is likely to still be around years from now? Say YouTube. So I've gone back to YouTube. I've uploaded up to the SmackDown, the Week 2 finale. That's how far I've uploaded. I uploaded that episode this morning. So I'm hoping to upload everything else before this week ends. That way, when I don't have any space on SoundCloud, I'll upload the episodes that would have been deleted on SoundCloud. You can catch them on YouTube. So that way, my subscribers on YouTube, they at least can see some activity on my channel, because at the time when I moved from YouTube, I wasn't sure if I was going to come back, but I figured out it's still possible for me to continue on YouTube, but it's just to store all the episodes. So the series is alive there on YouTube for those who want to go back, start from episode 0 and work their way up to where we are currently. We've just finished off our first pay-per-view, Extreme Rules, right here on YouTube. So thanks for the support here on SoundCloud. I hope you enjoyed Extreme Rules. For those who are still who have yet to listen, I would suggest you listen to catch Extreme Rules while it's still around, because once I don't have space, I'd have to delete maybe 1 or 2 episodes here on SoundCloud to make space for new ones. So I would suggest you listen to Extreme Rules while it's still there. So again, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll see if I'll do a review for NXT, Lucha, TNA. There was no Ring of Honor last. I think maybe it was there, but the site where I go to check out my wrestling shows, there's no Ring of Honor. So hopefully it will be there this week. If I'm able to do a review for those shows, I will do it and I'll upload for you guys. But otherwise, Audio Universe series-wise, that should be coming back next week when I've got maybe the first week prepared, when I've got Raw, NXT, and SmackDown prepared. Then I'll upload those guys and we can continue that series. But otherwise, this ends my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you later, guys. Thank you so much.